side of the bed, your last words in my head. You said it had to end, I wasn't ready then. If I could hold you one more night, I wouldn't try to change your mind. I'd just die there in that light, you and I. If this is over, let me say I loved you more than words could say. Even now, it won't fade, you and I.
Hello everybody, good afternoon. I hope you're having a fantastic day here in the Illuvium universe. This is going to be a fun day. We've got a handful of things that we can be taking care of. As per usual, with it being Monday, we're going to be doing all of our AutoDrone prizing. And we'll open it all up, get everything sent over to everybody. In theory, the Illuvium Beyond side of things has already been sent out. I sent that to Illuvium, and I imagine within the next day or two, they'll probably get to you. And then in regards to the starter decks, that's also been sent out. So we'll do our AutoDrone prizing, and then we're not going to wrap up the stream there, though. I'm going to go through this kind of quicker than I normally would. One, the practice from last week having to do God knows how many hundreds of Illuvials. My process is sped up a little bit. So with that, I also do want to have a discussion after the AutoDrone prizing, where I'm basically going to go over the current state of Illuvium Arena, how I'd fix it if, in a best case scenario, where resources and dev time wasn't a problem, and like more importantly, like how I would finish the development of the arena. Like what exactly is missing? I know we talk a lot about, say, the bugs and the balance and all those things, and here and there on the stream I've also talked about some features I wish I would add. I want to actually make a video about it, so we'll kind of use the stream as an opportunity as a recording session together. We'll do that for the second half of the stream. T-Hamster, good to see you. I hope you're having a fantastic day. And then, of course, let's take a look at the prizes. Of course, what even happened during House League last week. Let's hop on into the spreadsheet flashbang here in just a second. Chat is working. Chat is working. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, so we did end up having one lobby of each division once again. So for the Kira Blue Cup for the third time in a row, Robert Tacho was able to take the victory there and then picking themselves out the full firepower deck. So that's going to be the diving fire with Monarch style deck going on through. Zexy gets second, what I believe is for their second week in a row. Yeah, and then Eth at third for the second week in a row. But Zexy is going to walk home here with the Dust Enchanters, and then Ethan picked up the Natural Defenders. And it made me happy seeing for Zexy, they were posting in the Discord, I think the weekend that it got sent out, they tried out the Dust Enchanter deck. It's like, hey, I haven't tried this before, but this is actually pretty strong. This is actually kind of fun, and that was exactly the kind of vibe that I was hoping for. Then for our Lynx League for the second week in a row here, we're going to have Zico Perico as the victor. Going to be scoring himself over that silver chest and hyper AutoDrone run in just a moment's time. Lars getting themselves onto the leaderboard here as well, onto the podium with the second place finish. They've got, of course, the Wave 5 disc and a charged run coming their way. And then with Illuvium Hunter, they got onto the podium for the second time in 2 weeks. Second last week, and then a third this week that just passed. So again, Wave 5 disc and charged AutoDrone run on the way over to Illuvium Hunter at some point here today. Then for the Monarch Masters, we have a new first-time winner for the Monarch Masters here. That is going to be SlicksHYPE, followed up by ImmafishyHYPE, which I believe this is their first Illuvium competition since the Illuvium Pro League, so good to see them. And of course, BonDaddyRatty, one of our regulars, going to be scoring and wrapping up the podium here with a disc and charged run for themselves. So we're going to go through all of this, get it all documented as we normally do, and then from there, we'll do our discussion after the fact. I feel bad, again, did have to make a veto I know last week we did the hyper AutoDrone runs could be returned and exchanged for 12 charged runs. But I realized very quickly that that was not going to be sustainable in terms of time. So, and in terms of accuracy too, like having to go back into the VOD to get all of these serial numbers and see the ones I missed, that took a surprising amount of time, and it was just too much. So, those that liked it, it's a prize that maybe I'll use for special occasions, but it can't be an every week thing. So with that, Zico is going to be getting themselves here a hyper AutoDrone run coming their way in just a second. Make sure they got this pulled up and everything's in order. There we go. So hyper AutoDrone run again going to Zico because of their first place finish in the Lynx League. Let's take a look and see where Bach is going to take us here today to start off our adventure. Wait for it. It's going to be Halcyon C. If I recall correctly, Zico was looking for a greater water Grocco with decent TPI. So we'll have to see. I mean, with the hyper runs, they tend to go more towards the rarer Illuvials. But there is always that one slot for Tier 0. So let's take a look and see what we've got going on. The Tier 0 slot's going to be a green, a couple of blues here, and we do have one purple, so we'll have to hope. While the TPIs might not be the biggest here in this pack, let's see if maybe we can find some awesome rare Illuvials. In the Tier 0 slot, it's going to be that Greater Nature Valente, which at least offensively is pretty decent. Do have the Lesser Apon, the T-Roo coming on through, a Riptorus. It's not too shabby, actually, a 66 TPI Riptorus. Missing some Omega power, but at least attack speed and attack damage-wise, not too shabby. A Geyser, fully evolved. That's actually a pretty nice one as well. Very tanky fella at that. A pretty solid pickup. I see Axe Billionaire here in the chat. Good to see you. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Let's hop over to our next one. It's going to be a Fur Knight, so a Tier 4, but granted a little low on the TPI side. Then this little Ebb, unfortunately, a little bit worse for wear. At least it has some decent Omega power. But then the purple, this is the one that we're really hoping for a good one. It's going to be, again, a perfect fighting fit, or not a perfect one, but a very, very strong fighting fit tournament-ready Gnarl with max health, max resistances, and pretty decent offensively. Zico, you might have just very, very well found yourself a new front line for that bunker comp of yours, so there we go. And at the very, very least, that's a pretty damn good Illuvial. Congratulations, Zico, on the Gnarl and the rest of your Illuvials that we will send to you here in just a moment. That's the second week in a row we've gotten a Gnarl above 85 TPI. That's kind of crazy, actually. But a very nice way to start things off. Doing great, just returned from a weekend with friends in Portugal. Very, very nice. I'm glad that sounded like a good time. I'm doing all right myself. Thank you so much for asking. All right, so from the Fern onward here, or from the Fernite rather, we'll get things all documented. The Riptorus wasn't too bad either. Geyser. A beautiful Gnarl. The Ebb. Lesser Apon. Valente. And last but not least here, the T-Roo. Okay. So I could take this over to here. Refresh while that's going on. I've got Zico in here somewhere, I believe. Here we are. copied. My inventory. And this everybody right here? I think so. Ratty Data did change their site up a little bit, so I'm a little bit cautious going through it. Don't want to mess anything up, but like say like the batch transfer is just implemented into the marketplace now. Got your own little My Inventory tab. See your listings and offers as well. I hardly ever check the offers though, because let's be honest, it's just people trying to, or it's just bots trying to pull a fast one on you. This is my first transfer of the day, so I forgot to get through the security stuff first. My apologies. There we go. Double check the thing. That's not Zicobrico. This is Zicobrico. Bingo. All right. There we go, Zicobrico. Congratulations, your Illuvials are on the way, including that awesome Gnarl. Hope that it makes an impact. That either you or somebody you know can get that Gnarl onto the front lines, because that is an absolute beautiful Gnarl. Very, very strong one. All right, next up is going to be Lars. We'll get them over here in just a moment's time. Now, I think, if I recall correctly, this is the first time we get to give Lars a prize at all. Yeah, there we go. So it's been a couple of weeks. Lars had a couple of good tries, but leveled up, and especially there for that Lynx League battle, came in rather clutch. So being able to score this charged run, good on you, Lars. Swing on over. So this one is a charged run. Again, while it might not have as much of a chance in regards to evolutions, TPI is still anybody's game. And basically in terms of what actually shows up, is still anybody's game. We're going to be going over to Abyssal Basin this time by. And let's see what we do end up scoring here today. Where are the highlights? I'm seeing a lot of blue, which isn't too bad. A lot of Illuvials right down the middle. Let's start from our tier 0 slot, where it's going to be actually a pretty powerful little fish there. It's missing attack speed, but otherwise that thing's an absolute beast. Caribou, completely offensive Caribou. You don't see that too often, but kind of interesting. If we ever do get fusions back, maybe this could be used to actually buff up a high TPI Caradulo, potentially. Nice TPI here coming on through here for this Tiruro. It's going to be essentially tanky as can be, just missing that 1 point of health, which isn't too bad at all. Too shabby? I realize I say too shabby pretty consistently, so I'm going to try and catch myself with that a little bit more often. And attack damage is good. Attack speed, it's not too bad. So there we go. Nice pickup. The Chikoral's definitely going to be a little bit worse for wear. The Greater Monkey not having attack damage is going to be a little bit rough, unfortunately. But hello, beautiful. Virtuous Terralinx coming on through. Granted, it doesn't have any Omega power, so those heals aren't going to be as prominent. But literally everything else about this Lynx is incredible. Flappin' going to show up here, relatively tanky, but missing attack speed, so that's going to hurt. And then the little Kling going to wrap this one up. So there we go, Lars. I'm happy we finally got the opportunity to get you a prize here, and a couple of prizes at that. I don't know what your tier 2 collection looks like, but hey, if you were missing a Virtuous Terralinx, here you go. You've got one coming for you here in just a few minutes. From the Lynx onward, if I do recall correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. From the Virtuous Lynx onward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the last 2. 7. There we are. There we go. Just had to get warmed up. Now I'm getting a little bit faster at this. Back to ready data. The Impregnator. Thank you for the positivity. I hope you're doing well too. The Illuvials. My inventory. There we are. This one going over to Lars. That's the... Yeah, that one's Zico Preco. Perfect. Switch this over to Lars. Did you open any Lambo discs? Yes, I did. I was able to open, I believe it was 2 of them on Illuvium stream, but then for whatever reason, the stream kept crashing out, so it couldn't happen. I then went and did an impromptu, like 20-minute stream here on the YouTube channel to open a couple of Lambo discs. I think I had 3 or 4 Lambo discs left, and then 1 additional Wave 5 disc, and I did open it up. That's why I now have, I could probably show it here in a second, my current Illuvitar. I did get the Virtuous Emberlinks in the Flaming variant, so the, I believe it was a Stage 3 pose, or emoticon, however you want to call it. Expression, that's what it was. It's the rare expression. So I'm definitely happy with that. I'm very thankful to Illuvium for supplying me with a handful of those discs, and then I was able to also save up 2 for myself. So that's where that all came from. And big thank you again to Illuvium for helping me with that, and to all of you, of course, for helping me with the fuel to actually get this in the first place. So thank you all. What was I doing? I was grabbing Lars. Their listings all here. There we are. From the links onward. There they go. The Illuvials are on the way here, Lars. Mission complete. There we go. Another set of awesome Illuvials coming your way. I hope somehow, some way, they can make a difference in your adventures. Next up shall be Illuvium Hunter. But a 3rd place finish there in the Lynx League. Did you get the chance to open any up there, Axe? Again, this is a charged AutoDrone run. Excuse me, a charged AutoDrone run for Illuvium Hunter for their successful podium placing here, getting 3rd place in the latest Illuvium Arena House League for the Lynx League division. This time we're finally going to get away from the water a little bit. We're going to go over to Shard Bluff Labyrinth for this one. See what we can score here today. And this one, was that 2 purples here, this charged run? There's 1 for sure. Okay, it was just the 1 and then the other one was a blue. So I think this charged run, getting a purple is going to be quite nice here. And with Illuvium Hunter, I'm curious if any of them will be an upgrade. Let's take a look at this tier 0. Not too shabby there for that little flish. Not too shabby counter, +1. Take a sip. All right, now we've got Tatofi. Unfortunately, its best stat of it is its movement speed. Tatofi doesn't want to move, so that's a little bit unfortunate there. How about its older brother of sorts here, the TNT coming on through, which at least it has attack speed and Omega power. That's not too bad. TPI is going to suggest otherwise, but if you're missing a TNT, this one's not terrible at the very, very least. The Gyro coming on through, that's going to be a fully evolved Tendercline there with the attack speed and attack damage. That's the first and foremost that you essentially want there with this thing. So beautiful, good to see. Good resistances as well. Lyra coming on through with max attack damage and almost max resistances. Another TNT, or not TNT, it's a Tatofi kind of come on through here with at least some bulk to it. It does have health, but that's basically it. How about this Kuka? 70, nearly perfectly offensively. Awesome little bird right there with not the worst health and resistances either, so not too shabby. Take another sip. And then how about our purple here for this one? It's going to be yet another Kuka. Two Kukas in the same group here. But while this one was offensively sound, this one was defensively sound, plus Omega Power. So not too bad. Some pretty cool Illuvials coming your way here, Illuvium Hunter. I'm gonna open some now, literally 1 hour back from holidays, opening a few before bed. Perfect, perfect. That was a crazy crash out. Wait, what did I do? To say, if you're talking about my Discord post, well, you've not seen anything yet if things get any worse, but we'll have to see when we get there. Looks like YouTube's gonna make me refresh every single time that I switch scenes here. Oh no. YouTube was like in. Hopefully all is good now. I'm not seeing any dropped frames on my end here, so in theory, from me to YouTube's fine, just hopefully YouTube itself is good. First off, Silver Bushman, I also hope you're having a fantastic day. Same thing here with Dr. Spoon. Good evening, good evening. Yeah, so for Illuvium Hunter, I mean, I hope you needed Kukas, because we have 2 of them coming your way here that are both relatively sound. Started off here from one of these TNTs. Let's not accidentally give you mine. I would cry. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, from the Fleesh onward. As much as I'm sure Illuvium Hunter would absolutely love to have my level 1695 TPI TNT, I would sob profusely. Okay, Lura. Come on through. Oop. Kuka number 1. Snail 1. Snail 2. Gyro. And Kuka 2. Okay. Hop on back over to Ratty Data. Illuvials. My inventory. We're gonna have to refresh, aren't we? There they are. Yeah, that gyro is pretty good. By having the gyro and the 2 Kukas, I mean, you're basically getting yourself set up for some sort of Dust Enchanter deck. There we go. Get it all set up with just the 1 charged run. Okay, Illuvium Hunter. Nice Exodon. I don't remember seeing that before. Is that new? We just saw them rather recently. I can't remember if I saw that Luvitar yet, but nice one. Alright, on the way here for Illuvium Hunter. There we go, sent off and all is well. Congrats once again to Illuvium Hunter and of course to all of our winners here, getting these awesome Illuvials to come take home. And as always, I hope one way or another they make an impact on your adventures. Not quite done though just yet. Got a few more here to go. Next up's gonna be ImmafishyHYPE. Second 2 weeks ago, first this time. And this one's going to be a hyper, so let's get the big guns out here for this one. Get us something good here, Bach. Or actually, wait a second. No, I think the trick is supposed to be that I'm supposed to ask for grays, right? Yeah, so I don't know. This might be a hyper AutoDrone run and whatnot, but I'm just looking for grays and greens. Nothing crazy. That's all. Now let's see what happens. Did it actually listen? No, the curse, or not the curse, but the reverse psychology did not work. So we have a couple of blue Illuvials. I imagine these are probably all going to be essentially deathmatch fodder here for Slicks, unfortunately, but we'll have to see how it goes. Start off this exalted nature fleesh, actually. This is a pretty damn good fleesh. Very strong offensively, and has a bunch of health here as well. So 65 TPI coming on through. The Heady coming on through here, but it's not going to have very high TPI. This little Mammoth, 51 TPI with the 5 resistances and okay overall here offenses. I'd imagine this is still a very usable Mammoth, but for Slicks, I imagine it's probably going elsewhere. Furiox max Omega power and almost maxed out attack damage, not too bad. Guys are showing up for the second pack today. 74 TPI, so this one was right on the verge of hitting a purple. And to be fair, it's got max health and resistances. That's not bad. Another geyser. Holy smokes, we're just handing these out in droves, why aren't we? Apparently, you go to the Halcyon Sea and you find a bunch of these geysers. Oh, we're also going to find a Scarabok here as well. Maxed out Omega power and attack damage and resistances. Very nice little beetle. And to wrap this, oh my goodness, the first time we're seeing a pistol shrimp in the polls. And it's going to be going over to ImmafishyHYPE. My goodness, what a pack in terms of at least alluvial rarity. That is actually kind of crazy. And at least for this one, it's okay offensively. It may only be 47 TPI, but the thing is, a lot of those stats are at least in some of the right spots. So wow, incredible pull here for Slicks. The hyper AutoDrone run coming on through, at least in my opinion. Do any of these Illuvials actually start on their team? I'm not sure. But I'm sure Slicks will still be happy with these Illuvials. Upgrading your team little by little? Heck yeah, that's what we like to see. Alright, there they all are. So from the Furiox onward. I mean, the Dual F itself probably, if you're playing for value, the Dual F itself probably just paid for that pack. Because even trying to get one of those floor level Dual Fs is just so hard, considering Tier 5 fully evolved. Very, very tough to actually find. Alright. There they all are. Okay, sending these off in just a moment's time. Check my Discord to make sure there's no messages, and we'll fire them off here to Slicks in just a sec. There it goes. Once again, congratulations, Slicks, on some awesome Illuvials coming your way. As always, I hope they can make an impact for you one way or another. And then for the first time, ImmafishyHYPE coming on through. They should add a perk on that if you hit 3 in a row. Hey, we already got Deathmatch coming very, very shortly. That's basically the casino in itself, so... I mean, they already have the assets technically made, right? So in theory, if it shot you with some flashing lights and some confetti, I'm sure it could work. Code is Sylen, alright, making sure for a big butt. First off, thank you so much for even considering using my code. And that is correct, Sylen is my code, exactly how you spelt it there. Yes, thank you so much. I hope whatever it is that you're going after, you find what you're looking for. Next up, ImmafishyHYPE. There we go. Yeah, ImmafishyHYPE, the first tournament that they had entered since the Illuvium Pro League. They get onto our top squad here, just recently coming back and getting some of their own Illuvials. Because I think back in the IPL days, of course, you didn't actually have to own your own Illuvials. It was all free to play, right? So ImmafishyHYPE back then, I don't think needed to actually spend at all, or not necessarily spend, but just get their own Illuvials at all. So they've got some now. But maybe we could fill some gaps. We'll have to take a look and see what we can score here for ImmafishyHYPE. Do I have ImmafishyHYPE on my speed dial? I don't think I do. Type it in manually here. Not found. That is concerning. What happened here? Is it just ImmafishyHYPE? No. Was there an accent or something in there? That's a little unfortunate here, actually. One thing I can try to do... Ratty Data, save me again. Gauntlet Companion. Player Lookup. If I get it at least close, normally they'll find me one. Have they... I literally just played a game with them, I feel like. Yeah, ImmafishyHYPE just not showing up. I've got one more idea. When in doubt... Because again, I do feel like I just played ImmafishyHYPE this morning. So match history... see if I can find them this way. Okay, so not here, but if I go by... If I look myself up... What do you mean no matches found? You literally have my data right there. From everything? Considering my match history, it would take a long time to load. This is a little bit promising, I think. No match found. Okay. I think I'm going to need to mark ImmafishyHYPE here. I think we could still do the run. I'll have it all documented, but I'm going to have to get their username after the fact and send it all over. But I'll get it documented again so that we at least know exactly what's going where. So nonetheless, this is still another Hyper AutoDrone run here for ImmafishyHYPE. The last AutoDrone, or the last Hyper AutoDrone run we did there for Slicks, while it may have not necessarily produced the biggest TPIs, the biggest numbers, there was still plenty of rarity. Of course, that duel F, the stage 3 fully evolved tier 5, as well as 2 geysers, fully evolved tier 4s. So that's still very, very awesome. Can we potentially find something of similar nature here this time by? I do see 2 purples, so this one very well could make an impact here. Let's start the tier 0. We're going to get the lesser nature flesh coming on through. Whatever it is for the tier 0s today, they seem to be actually pretty strong so far. 73 TPI on that one. It might not be the geyser, but it's just little guy. The ebb going to come on through. Nearly maxed out on Omega power and plenty of tank on that one as well. Not bad. The rake's going to be a little bit worse for wear, only 38 TPI. Same thing here with the ace, where it's just going to be 46. For this one in the blue, it's going to be a crunk, and at least it's got max health and some decent resistances. Not too bad at all. How about another Scarebok? What is it about slot 2 here? Finding beetles. That's going to be the second one. Now we have 2 purples coming on through. First and foremost, the Verminio gonna come out to play, maxed out on Omega power and nearly perfect defenses. That's what we like to see, 80 TPI. How about on the top left corner? That's gonna be the beautiful Octius. 9, or not 90, hopefully it was 97, I'd absolutely lose it. But the 79 TPI Octius here, where it's got nearly perfect defenses and full Omega power, full attack damage. That is an incredible Octius. Big pickup here for Zico Perico. Or not Zico Perico. If that was Zico Perico, they would absolutely lose their mind. A big pickup here for ImmafishyHYPE, rather, in this one. Sorry if I teased you there, Zico Perico. But ImmafishyHYPE with a big one. A very nice run indeed, absolutely. YouTube chat, for whatever reason, wants to fight me again here today. Let's refresh that. And we'll get everybody documented, because there's some pretty sick pickups here. I don't want any room for error, so let's get everybody locked in. And then ImmafishyHYPE, because for whatever reason we cannot find your username, I will try to, or I will hit you up rather, sometime after stream, or if at any point during the stream we see ya, then I will grab your username and we'll send this over right away. Because unfortunately, it's not showing up as an active profile. It just keeps giving me 404s. YouTube bugging out still? That's unfortunate. Let me double check and see on my swing of things here. I feel bad, but I'm not sure what I can do to assist. Alright, last but not least here for the prizing. First, again, let me mark that down with red. There's a problem, so I do need to look into that more. We just had ImmafishyHYPE. Now, wrapping things up here for us today in regards to the prizing will be BonDaddyRatty, who's got one of the most impressive collections, I believe, of all of Illuvium. So to try and find them a starter, something that could actually go onto their team, would be extremely difficult. But of course, it's also a charged run, so it's going to be an absolute wild card as to what we can expect. We're going to go to Crimson Wastes here for this one. Let's get into the swing of things right here. Make sure I'm on the right screen, why don't we? There we go. Of course, after this, I'm not going to hop into the arena, but what I'm going to be doing is having basically a conversation with everybody else in chat here as well. Completely open to having this conversation with you and having your input included. But the idea is that I want to try and just talk about how I would fix Arena, how I would finish its development in a perfect world, where we might not be worried about development time or costs. Kind of how I would take it from there. So BonDaddyRatty, this one seems like it's a little bit of the middle of the road, but let's see if we can get you at least something good. A pretty nice Lesser Water Valente coming on through here, just missing Omega Power, which is a little bit painful considering the burst damage. We're going to have our only holo here for today. It looks like Archie going to come on through. I'm glad that the little Archie holo can be sent to you here, but again, TPI a little bit lackluster. Same thing here with the app on. The Lesser Monk here has got full Omega Power and attack speed, so I mean, it's relatively decent offensively. The Chocoral missing a little bit of attack damage, unfortunately, but otherwise not too bad. Chakondi showing up here as well. Max attack speed, max attack damage. I mean, it's got a job and it has the stats to do it, so again, not bad. Arcane Link's going to come on through, and the final Illuvial here for our AutoDrone runs from House League. It will be a nice ace, actually, with no attack speed, but it does have max health, max attack damage, as well as some pretty decent resistances and Omega Power. So a pretty solid little ace, even though the attack speed, it definitely would have made a difference, but it's going to hurt its TPI score, at least, but still. If I had that ace and it was one of my first ones, I'd definitely be happy. But again, we're talking about somebody who has probably one of the best, if not the best, collection of Illuvials, of at least active players in the game. So it's basically up to Deb and Dr. Spoon, I believe. So in terms of finding a starter, maybe we didn't, but we at least brought the holo. Okay, so from the monk here onward, deathmatch contenders, that's absolutely one way we can do it too. 100%. Last one. And cheers, I don't have to lose my mind this week doing row after row of these serial numbers. Because I'm not gonna lie, this last week was so damn tough to actually pull through. Was seriously ridiculous, but this is much better. I don't feel like I'm pulling at my hair at the end of the day doing it this way. Alright. Let's go to BonDaddyRatty's own website here to actually send them over to him. One of the things I think that it's kind of getting worked on here in the background as well, I believe I need to ask for permission, but for those that are into the wagering things and like going alluvial versus alluvial or something along those lines, I believe as a part of Ratty Data, something that's getting built is like you take a ranked game, for example, and then you can go up against one other person who's not in the ranked game and then bet an alluvial on it. Heck, some of these alluvials might work for that too. Okay, we've got a little bit of a mixture since we do have ImmafishyHYPE in at the same time, which is exactly why. And then, do I still have the AutoDrone run pulled up, or did I cancel that? I did already do that. Of course, the beauty of having this sheet available. Yes, there was, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. In fact, I might actually just double check from the stream itself, so I'm not just going through serial numbers here as well. Let's bear with me a quick second. You might hear me twice here for a second. Okay, there we go. I have it up on the screen here. So Monk here. App on. Archie, Valente, Bear, Ace. Okay, yeah, this is it. Perfect. And then these last 8 are all here for I'm a Fishy later. Alright, now I'm found. Do I not have BonDaddyRatty on my speed dial? I very well might not. Surprising considering how many times they've played here. I'm surprised I don't have that. There's Ratty. Check one time. There we go. All right, there we go. Sorry for the hiccup. But everything's all here, all sent and good to go. So once again, to everybody, to all of our winners here from Friday's Illuvium Arena House League, big congratulations. I hope again that all of these Illuvials, one way or another, have a way to impact your adventures. And then for ImmafishyHYPE in particular, I just need to grab your username as soon as possible, and I will send this over. Got it marked down. I want everybody's name in the green, so I'll get that done as soon as possible here. I don't know if I'm just missing an accent on one of the letters or something along those lines with how I wrote the wrote you down for registration. So that's what I'm guessing I'm having. It's probably like an accent over the A or the I or something along those lines, and I probably messed it up there. But all right. Oh, nope, chat, you can come back here. That's what I was looking for. Right, we get this all situated here. Okay. Let's see, do I want to full screen this? I'm trying to think of how I want to get this done. Here. Let's do it this way. Oh, I have double Illuvium. Let's fix that. Yeah, let's do it this way so the chat's in here. There we go. And I'm going to kill the music during this section here as well. All right. So the idea, once again, here for this portion of the stream, thankfully we did kind of speed through the, sped through the prizes pretty quickly, because I do want to take the opportunity to just kind of go over the thoughts in my head. And by all means, like, don't be yes people to me, okay? So if anything that I'm saying sounds wrong or you absolutely want to contest it, by all means do that. I would love to be able to have a little bit of a back and forth. Or if you have any ideas to kind of add on with what I'm talking about, I'm absolutely down to have just an open and honest conversation currently here. Because again, whether it's people seeing on Discord as of late or just kind of my overall tone on stream as of late, I'm in a spot right now where I do get nervous a little bit. Of course, with anything, and of course, at the end of the day, first and foremost, I want to fire a few things off. I do this because I enjoy it. I'm not making any money off of my YouTube channel or any of my videos or any of my content in that regard. And then any of the rewards that I'm getting from the leaderboards gets put into House League. The one thing that I do get that doesn't necessarily always come out in fuel is whenever the referral code is used, because then that can come out in Ethereum, but that Ethereum then gets put into House League in other ways as well, in regards to picking specific Illuvials off the Illuvidex to make those starter decks, or potentially using that Ethereum for other different style prizes. Like, let's say one day maybe I want to throw an Illuvium Zero plot into the Illuvium House League as a prize. That's what it's saved for. It does not come out of my account. So in terms of like pushing for the sake of a financial gain, none of that is the case here with me. I could promise you that. And of course, as I'm going through this, there is going to be the opportunity to talk about a handful of, well, negative things that I do see in Illuvium and around the Illuvium universe. But none of this is meant to attack anybody personally. There may be certain times where like, I indirectly could be referencing somebody, but it's not because I'm trying to give them hell. I'm just trying to make it clear that I think this is kind of weird, so to speak, if that makes sense, right? So, with this, basically, with Illuvium Arena as it stands here right now, it has the foundations to be as basic, or excuse me, Illuvium Arena has the foundation already to be a fantastic game, but there's a lot of things that are problematic with it right now, especially when trying to bring somebody new in and keeping them here, keeping them enjoying themselves. Just a ton of features that are missing, and I'm not going to be touching on anything in regards to the coin. I'm not going to touch on to rewards in terms of like leaderboard rewards or the leaderboard rewards or anything along those lines. I'm not going to touch any of that. But the idea is that there's just straight up features missing in this game that I think could be developed quickly and cost very little. But at the same time, I could very well also just not know what I'm talking about, because I personally am not a game dev. So I'm not sure exactly how costly things can be, how much time it potentially takes. But as we're talking about how I feel like how we can improve the Illuvium Arena, a lot of the things that I'm going to recommend are things that have been done before. So, I don't know. You can definitely tell I'm nervous about talking about it, but I feel like it just needs to be done here. So, issues that I'm personally having right now with Illuvium, comparing it to other games, is that first and foremost, again, there is still no way to earn Illuvials just through the arena itself. I know there's a big topic and the big vibe around Illuvium is that, well, yeah, because you're supposed to get these Illuvials from the overworld. You're supposed to get these Illuvials from the MMO, and then you bring them into the arena. And I love that as an addition, but I do not wish that to be the core mechanic of the game. If somebody strictly wants to play arena, I do feel like they should be able to get their own creatures just through arena, if that makes sense. Then I can take a pause here for a second. Sylen, can you check the Beyond Discord whenever you have a second? I think you picked a strong one. Let me peek. Here in just a moment. And Axe is going for gold. I can't show it on screen because I don't have my my Discord linked up right now. But a golden monk, that's beautiful. Congratulations there, Axe Billionaire. Heck yeah, beautiful. And then back with these Illuvials. So with the lack of being able to get Illuvials, you, of course, when you're brand new and you start off the game, you do get every single Illuvial for free. But they're all, like, technically off-chain. Like, you can't trade the things, right? But the bigger problem that I personally have is that the Illuvials that you get for free never level. And it changes the vibe very, very badly to me. And it was when I was kind of talking to my wife about this that, like, it really stuck out to me big time, because with the free Illuvials never being to level, of course, I realize that obviously you're trying to give advantage to those that actually own their own stuff, and that does need to be a thing. But by making it so that you can't level, the vibe of the game itself turns into a yacht club vibe where, oh, you've got free Illuvials, then I'm just going to completely destroy you every single game. No, you don't deserve to have a chance in this game. Either, heck, I don't care if you play the game. You don't have your own Illuvials. I don't care about you. Um, Either pay or get the F out. That's the kind of vibe you get with a system like this, and it's kind of disgusting, especially since you can only level up in ranked games, so you're just going to get smashed over and over again with these level 1s, and there's absolutely nothing that you can do about it. And then issue 3. I'll go in here in just a second. Drone runs via battle pass should be a thing. Kind of. I'll get to that here in a second. I'd go one further. Issue 3, let's say you do go out and buy your Illuvials. Sometimes you can't use them anyway. With the way that Gauntlet is structured, of course, we do have the random Illuvial pool, and of course, if your Illuvials are getting contested, you're never going to see the best part of your team. Like, say, for example, with my squad a long time ago, I believe it was Squawk hooked me up with my Seaforus. I would be using my Seaforus in every single game if I wanted to. But the problem is if it gets contested at all, or the random RNG just doesn't go my way, because let's be honest, who's rolling for Seaforus other than me and JB at this point? Like, nobody's rolling for Seaforus. But because of the randomness, I can never truly guarantee that I'm going to hit it. So my team will never be the best team. You're never, or the likelihood of you facing the best version of me is slim. And let's say for, like, say these tier 5 stage 3s, good luck half the time trying to find them. If you went out and you bought, like we see here at the top sales during this week in Illuvium, some of these people that are getting those big, like, high TPI Sears, or even the high TPI Dual Fs or whatever, paying hundreds of dollars for these Illuvials, they should be able to use their Illuvials. But half the time, because of RNG, they can't. And it's a tease, and it feels like a waste of money. And for the longest time, people who complained about this, I was ready to say, like, skill issue, because that's just the nature of the game. But Illuvium's put themselves into a point where I've now changed my opinion on it, where, no, you've bought these, you should be able to use them. They're your Illuvials. And strictly going for the randomness aspect, I don't necessarily like. So that's definitely frustrating. My 4th issue here is that there's nothing that you can technically work on every day unless you assign your own goals, make up your own goals along the way. Like, what terrified me a long time ago, and I feel like the mindset still kind of exists, is that somebody had said that leveling your Illuvials is the end game. That should never be the case. What are we leveling up Illuvials for in the first place here? And the answer is like, oh yeah, you're leveling them up for tournaments. What tournaments? Other than the Lamborghini one that we're having here because of the Lamborghini special with Motiverse Cup. With the past couple of months going completely silent, do we expect anything to change? I'd love for it to change. I want it to change and see more stuff, so it's not strictly run off of my community events to keep the tournament scene alive. But we've not seen it from Illuvium in the since the Pro League, and I think there's reasons why, which we'll kind of touch on in a little bit, and I definitely don't like it, to say the least. But in terms of additional goals, like, there's no battle pass whatsoever. There's no daily goals. There is no way to drip feed fuel to players through gameplay, which in a free-to-play style game is basically game design 101 for free-to-play, where you have to essentially not give a lot, but a little bit of fuel for completing a couple of goals, like, for every single day, every single week, so that if they wanted to go into, like, an AutoDrone run and get their Illuvials that way, they could. However, one thing that makes this difficult, issue 5, is that the AutoDrone run, the buying of Illuvials or anything like that, it's not actually in the game itself. So you have to go to a website, tinker around with that, and you have to get the AutoDrone runs that way. Just imagine if the AutoDrone run was directly there in the gameplay, in the main menu, and being able to just buy with your fuel that way, like we do with our XP boosts. You'd be getting the AutoDrone runs, the fact that you can get Illuvials and buy Illuvials. There's people that might download, like, this sounds stupid because it's like we're so used to it, but there's people who might try this game out for the first time. Download Illuvium Arena, hop on in, get killed over and over again. If they get lucky, they'll figure out that alluvial ownership is a thing. And if they're going to look, okay, well, then how do I get alluvials? They're looking in the game, they're looking in the shop. There's nothing. There is, even if you're paying, I get the third, well, not the third party, but the player-to-player stuff being on a website. But there is no reason to me why the AutoDrone cannot be implemented in the game itself. It would be such a big deal for getting eyes on the fact that it's a possibility in the first place, and maybe score a few additional sales there because of it. And then G-Hamster here as well, the fact that we can't fuse right now. Yeah. The fact. This is a creature capture game, is it not? Or this universe is a creature capture universe. This isn't arena specific. This is just an Illuvium as a whole thing right now. But I think it was incredibly stupid that in a creature capture game right now, we cannot go out and catch our own creatures. We can raise our Illuvials through the arena. Oh, I hit level 20, I want to evolve. You can't. You're stuck with that thing. Just core creature capture mechanics are completely missing, and it's so brutal. And I get that the ZK EVM migration probably threw things for a loop, but these are core game mechanics in a creature capture genre that are just straight up missing. If we can't go into Overworld to catch Illuvials, and we can't go into Overworld to fuse and evolve our Illuvials, there should have at least been some sort of browser alternative. Forgive me if I pronounce your name wrong, but atom molecule. Somebody realistic and understanding the situation. I definitely thank you, and I will give the first and foremost, again, I'm not a game dev. I hear about some things that happen behind the curtain, so to speak, but not everything. And, like, I don't know necessarily what it takes to get some of these things done. But what I am a lifelong gamer. And what I see here in Illuvium, the promise that, or the premise of what Illuvium is here, I love to the point where I would love to make this my forever game. That I just play all my life. I would replace Pokemon with this 100%, but the game literally isn't letting me. So I am going to do my damnedest here to bring that all to the forefront. Oh, it's Wake Darkness 69. Okay, good to see you. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I didn't recognize your username there for a second, but good to see you. Yeah, so the fact that AutoDrone runs are just not on the, are not doable in game, and then we can't fuse, we can't capture, the game is broken right now, and then the argument is that we're waiting for the MMO. I'm also waiting to figure out what staking V3 is. Remember, that was supposed to be a thing where people actually invested money into something that's called shards, which right now we still don't know actually has any sort of use because we're really trying to manipulate the marketplace and hit a really, really specific timing. Otherwise, the value of the shards could be compromised, even though you've expressed that we know what the shards are for. Are we also waiting for training gyms in Illuvium Zero to combat the lack of leveling and the hard time we have of leveling and giving some additional value to the Illuvium Zero plot holders? But the thing is those experience boosts also are a fuel expense. So what's the problem? Where's the training gyms? Is all of a sudden the fact that we can't, would that take away from your XP boost revenue? So you don't want to give it to the zero players, even though this has been promised for over a year at this point? Or potentially maybe even the Sanctum Mesa requests, the building, the factory, or anything along those lines where we can actually use our blueprints that went down because we can't go into Overworld anymore, because we can't make our own skins like the original purpose was anymore. Or even if I do create my own skins, like my beloved Link skins that I love super, super dearly and use over and over again, but I literally cannot go into the goddamn game and click on my Link skins because, God forbid, for whatever reason, the Link stuff never works. Is that what we're also waiting on? You can see there's a lot to be frustrated about. And I'm a veteran, not even a newcomer. Outside of all of that, that's the whole idea why I started playing for the creature capture genre and around. And that's exactly it. Like, I do agree that the universe can and should tie together, and it makes it go from a great series of games to an amazing series. But we have to get there, and I'll get to how I would fix it shortly. But like I was saying before, in regards to we're waiting on the MMO, you can see why I don't necessarily fall for that anymore, because we're waiting on everything so often and we're not getting anything. So waiting and just being left in the dark. Illuvium, when I first joined, all the way up until, say, December of last year, I think the biggest W that Illuvium had over lots of gaming, not just Web3, but especially Web3, because let's be honest, all you pixelated pieces of shit out there are just like spamming these crappy ass graphic games, putting in a slight little game loop, throwing a token on it and calling it a game, calling it earning. Well, guess what? These stupid games are definitely bringing all of us down. And Illuvium had the biggest W because of the transparency. Everything that was in regards to burning, in terms of their expenses, in terms of where the game was going. It was transparent. It was there. It took a little bit, but we got it. I don't know what happened since December, but it fell off a cliff. We have all this stuff in a roadmap. We have a week of town hall stuff. Other than Illuvium Beyond with the partnership, what have we got? What new has come out? I can't tell you. But I could tell you everything that we lost. Losing Overworld. Losing the ability to catch our own creatures. Losing the way to power level our creatures through Overworld. And that's just it. Again, I am not trying to flame any developers. But as a fan that's not heavily invested in regards to finances, but heavily invested emotionally into where this game goes, that it just feels so bad. And it feels worse because Diane, 1 second. Because we were really, really close to actually getting some new things that we were looking forward to and finishing some core products, or some core games rather. And they got completely reversed on. And again, as soon as the Illuvium Pro League ended, my 6th issue, where are the events? I'm not talking about Illuvium Pro League Season 2. I personally do not believe that Illuvium Pro League can come back in the same extent that Season 1 did ever again. And you know what? I don't want it to, because the entire concept behind Illuvium Pro League was fucking stupid, because it was done in the free-to-play model, so the players that actually came in the first place didn't actually go out and catch their creatures, had no investment to the actual environment itself, and then once the game was done, when the game turned into Leviathan, where your ownership actually mattered, well, guess what? They didn't have any of their own Illuvials. Your top players came in, did a nice little extraction job, took all that prize money away from us veterans, the people actually gave a shit about the game. And they went to go back to TFT and whatever else game they were playing at the time. They had no reason to stay. So, I never want to see Illuvium Pro League come back the way it was before. All that prize money that could have been used, for just those series of events, just split up throughout the year. Quarterly mini majors. You can cut the prize pool in half. What was it? It was like $150,000 or something along those lines for the entire season. Cut that into a quarter, split that amongst 4 quarterly events, and I guarantee you that's still actually an above average esports payout. There was just so much wrong there, and now because of this, I feel like Illuvium is terrified to actually run their own events anymore, because they have to have the high bar that Illuvium Pro League set, otherwise they're going to get ridiculed. And they just see, like, the return on investment obviously wasn't there, because all these people came in, scooped up the prize money, and they weren't invested, like I was saying. They weren't invested into the universe. They came in, showed off their skills, and took the money. They didn't even have any of their own Illuvials, or if they did, they had very, very few. Only now are a few dedicated like pro players that we're kind of seeing come back around. But like, let's be honest. Heck, we've seen a few of them even come out through House League a little bit, and I'm happy they're back. Don't get me wrong. At the end of the day, I'm happy and welcoming to see you here. But why? What about Illuvium would make you come back come for the tournament, completely disappear once the tournament's done, but then only come back in for a tournament? You're in it for the money. And that's the only way that you can play Arena right now, is because you have to be in it for the money, because the core game mechanics are just straight up missing to feel otherwise. And there's just nothing consistent, no events. Issue 7. I stress this again, this is not meant to be a personal attack on anybody. I am going just strictly off of my observation as somebody who plays the arena and watches the arena and sees the stats like every single day, checks match histories and all that jazz. And heck, I'm a part of certain streams where people will straight up admit it. Of the developers, the staff members, council members, why does nobody play the game that you are working on, you're a board member on? You would think you'd want the best for the game. Like, I don't get it. Like, I was baffled for the longest time. I think I mentioned this in a prior stream. But Kieran would always make points saying that they played Arena like every other night for a little while, kind of thing. And then on the Lamborghini stream, they just drops that, oh yeah, I haven't played for like a month or a couple months. He hasn't played. People that I believe are supposed to be streaming and commentating important versions of this game haven't played the game. People that used to be the face, or are still, technically by the numbers, are still technically the face of Illuvium as a content creator, haven't played the game in ages. Council members that are supposed to help direct the health of the game and make decisions haven't played the game. Because literally every single, like a ton of them at least, from what it feels like, rather than make a game good, are we just trying to get a quick fix on something that'll spike extremely well so that we can pump that ILV token and then you can get the F out? That's the vibe I get, even if your intentions are the complete opposite. That's the feeling the community gets when Slashin has been able to get people could have the hub open on another monitor, grab Slashin and Malura, and just AFK for the rest of the game because they could 3-tap Lottos. How do we get balance in its current state unless people have actually been playing the game? How do we have core mechanics, a tutorial, the fact that like certain stuff that should in theory be making you money, the auto drones, buying stuff, cannot be done in the game? And there is one thing, again, I know, a lot of these people are kind of spread a little bit thin here. So why do we have a developer, like say, for the case of the Arena and Deathmatch, why are they stuck trying to build 2 games at the same time? That is just kind of frustrating. And the fact that development is halted here for Illuvium Arena so y'all can take a crack at your damn slot machine of a deathmatch game screams heavily that you just don't care and you're looking for the quick buck. I want to be wrong. I desperately want to be wrong here. But this just feels so bad. Nobody in a place of power, it feels like, cares about Arena. And I kind of touched on my final issue. There's still no tutorial. People can come join this game and again not realize that alluvial ownership is actually a thing. And then once they discover that it is, because it was never brought to their attention, it feels like the game snuck pay-to-win mechanics on them. And a majority of players, I think you probably lose them at that point. So that was a lot of negative. That was 100% a lot of negative. And I want to again preface this with the fact that this is coming from a place of care. I want to see Illuvium Arena. I want to see every Illuvium title succeed on its own to make an absolute blockbuster of a universe. Because here's the thing. We can have a universe of games, but if each individual game is just a minimal viable product, well, you're going to get minimal viable attention and you're going to be dead in a year. So let's change this, please. I have high hopes, but we need to stop doing 7 different goddamn products at the same time. Can we not necessarily finish? Because with a handful of these games, it's going to take extended development even after release. But what I'm going to go for, how I would fix this, and how I would finish development. Where I would get Illuvium Arena to the point where I can then put it into maintenance mode, doing just strictly balance updates, and then updates to the game in regards to when new Illuvials come around. Where that is the only thing you have to worry about. And I'm going to talk about this because there is precedent in other titles. And I'll explain it all at the very, very end here. So how I would fix this. And again, chat, of course, this is all being recorded live here. I've got the chat over in the left-hand corner. By all means, if you think I'm crazy or if you have any additional input, would absolutely love to hear it. And I'll keep talking to y'all while we're here. Or I am completely content just firing away and potentially burying my own grave. But we'll see how it goes. How I'd fix it. So first off, what I would end up doing is about the leveling process. First and foremost, all those free Illuvials that you get when first downloading the game, where you've strictly only downloaded Arena and you have all the level 1s with 0 stats. I would make it so that those Illuvials can be leveled, and they'll always stay at 0 TPI, and preferably stay off chain. If that is not possible, I would still let them on chain as level 1s that can be leveled all the way up to 60, 100, whatever the prestige levels happen to be now. I would let that happen, and they'd just all be 0 bonus stats. But the bots, every single time this got brought up, the devs would always be something along, oh, we're worried about bots, we're worried about bots. Well, this next part is also going to piss you off then, because I'd let you level up in casual at a much reduced rate. If you're playing in the ranked and you're putting like your ranking on the line, you should get more experience. But to those that are very nervous about starting out, I would let them play the bots in casual and level up. But the bots, people are just going to run amok with all these level 60s. Here's the thing. Who is that hurting? Having an avenue for newcomers to level somebody up with no bonus stats from 1 to 60, so they're at least getting a little bit of progression, a little bit of additional strength. Who is that hurting if somebody is just spamming casual games? And let's just say worst case scenario, they have to stay on chain. So what? We're going to and you're worried about bots. What can the bot do? It would be, say, farming up level 60s. What's worse they could do? Farm up level 60s and then somebody could then go through them on the Illuvidex? Here's the thing. Who in their right mind is going to buy a level 60 0 TPI? Nobody who has any sort of understanding of the game would actually put their money towards a 0 TPI Illuvial. But the bots, what if they then go into ranked? Bots have a hard time with ranked as is. I would be very surprised if they would be able to actually perform in the arena. So we'd have to see. That would have to be maybe a potential where things do have to get reported on. But I can't see a world where the bots are just going to try and flood ranked leaderboards. Even if they have all level 60s, they're going to eventually run into veterans. They might get into the top 100 while we still have less than 100 players, but I can't see them staying there for very long. I'd rather take bot activity than no activity. G-Hamster, you have it exactly right there. I would rather be flooded with bots if it means that I'm opening the door for a welcoming newcomer experience who might then get invested into the Illuvium universe, see their Illuvials, and then eventually learn at, like, what the bonus stats are, to maybe where they then see AutoDrone in the menu, and then maybe want to grab some for themselves. Especially if these Illuvials only stay to Arena, they might like the idea that these Arena Illuvials that they're getting could then be used in the MMO later. I know that's my big thing. I do enjoy the Arena heavily, but the big reason why I'm leveling all my squad up right now, I'm not competing in the Lamborghini tournament. I'm likely casting if I'm not getting canceled because of this video. Well, we'll have to see. But the main reason why I'm leveling them is so I can have my Seaforest by my side when I go to take down a raid boss later on in the MMO. Have my Adorito help me heal. I'm power leveling not for the arena. I want for the MMO. And there's a lot of people that love that kind of connectivity. So let them level their Illuvials. Let them get interested. Let them get hooked. Because it'll tie in with what I'd want for the gameplay loop here. Even if we do not have a battle pass, at the minimum, I would love to have daily quests return. And maybe weekly quests return that can give fuel in very small increments to the players playing the game. Which, for, say, this kind of stalemate where we're at right now, where we're waiting on the MMO, would make getting Illuvials through the AutoDrone actually have a playable loop through the arena. Let's get those daily goals, and let's say, like, maybe after 3 days of completing every single daily goal, you would be able to do an AutoDrone run. And you know what could possibly go even, like, make things crazier. Let's say I'm a newcomer, I have a bunch of level 1s. But I save up enough fuel, I get my first AutoDrone run. If I hit a stage 2, I have my first level 20. If I have the luck to hit a stage 3, I have my first level 40. Those moments right there, that changes somebody from just being, oh, I'm just kind of playing the game, to, oh my god, that's mine. How can I build a team around this guy? He's so strong, he's level 40. He blows the rest of my team out of the water. I want to build a team around this. Or I want to do this again, but I have that urge to do it again before next week or before the next day. How much is it for a run? It's basically $1. Okay, I'm willing to spend that. In a worst case scenario as well here, where we're, like Jesus Hamster is calling out, where I was talking about bots running the ranks leaderboards, or the fear of that. If it actually got to the point where that was becoming a problem, I'd be okay with the idea of a free-to-play level cap at level 40. Or the free-to-play Illuvials being capped at 40. But I still don't even think that's necessary. Ranking up, and then beginning can have lots of perks with Origin, and that's the story for the true players. And that's kind of the feeling, right? You'd be finally being able to get your own Illuvials strictly through the arena, no other means. If, let's say, eventually the MMO does somehow come out, and then they can realize, wait a second, these Illuvials that, first off, I have in the arena right now, I could bring into the MMO, but also these Illuvials I'm catching in the MMO, I could eventually bring into the arena? That's extremely exciting. People love that idea, at least in my opinion. But the idea behind this, the daily quests to give the fuel, is this way you have a way to get Illuvials just in arena by itself. That needs to be a thing, and we're not giving away huge bits. Like, I'd still say, like, say the Hyper AutoDrone run, that is a premium option. But you can give the player the choice to save up their fuel for a long period of time to eventually go for that extremely premium option. That's definitely possible, and that's, again, gotcha game 101 right there, right? Like, I think back to my time playing Rise of Kingdoms. If there was a certain commander that I was trying to roll for, I would save up my gems for months, if not years, to build up enough premium currency so when that character showed up, I could take the risk and try to get them. So similar nature here. If I wanted to save up for an AutoDrone run, I might be saving my fuel for weeks or not months. But I am getting the possibility at finding maybe some of these harder to find evolutions based off of the Hyper AutoDrone run. Would I recommend people do that? No, because it seems like charge runs are basically just as successful at fighting fit Illuvials. But it's an option, and you can give the player some agency, some control in that choice. Not just, hey, thank you for downloading the game. You have to buy these Illuvials, otherwise you're technically not allowed in the yacht club. Or what I find worse is certain players that then would look at people's collections where they have like these low TPI Illuvials, and it's like, oh yeah, I guess they threw a couple dollars at the game, but they're not like me with my $1,000 collection. These players still don't mean anything, and we shouldn't care about them unless you have like max level, like level 55s or higher. I don't take you seriously as a player. You're not actually a player, and we shouldn't care about you. That's what it feels like, and it's so painful. But there is, of course, another issue. even if you do buy Illuvials right now, you can't even use them half the time. I was talking this about, or referring this in regards to the Sephora's from earlier. But again, like you can go out of your way, even if you've bought a very, very pricey and very strong Illuvial, there's no saying that you can actually truly use it. So your time in the arena just feels terrible. So here is what I would do. I'm going to quickly take a look at the chat here in a second. And fusing would also offer the decent game loop for new players. Rolling the dice on 3 trash Illuvials for the chance of something competitive. I'd definitely be interested in figuring out a little bit more. Like, are you referring to similar to what we saw in Overworld, where the stats of the Illuvials that you fed matter into the stats of the evolved Illuvial? Or are you saying, like, completely RNGesus it, where you just take 3 and screw the stats, you're just rolling the dice again? But having fusion as something that you could do in-game as well, I completely agree, still needs to be a thing. I should be able to go into the arena, level my Atlas up to 20, and then evolve it. That's creature capture 101, which we still can't do. But now let's see. Not everybody's probably going to be on board to what my next idea would be. Because Gauntlet, of course, a big mistake that Illuvium unfortunately made was turning Illuvium into a teamfight tactics clone, which, of course, included the shop, the rolling kind of mechanics. And trying to beat TFT at TFT didn't work. Just frankly, it didn't work. But what we could have had, and what we can still have, I believe, is nowhere to be seen in auto battlers or in the creature capture genre, period. So what I would do, first off, whoever thought it was a great idea to make Gauntlet one-on-one and call it Ascendant, which is a beloved game mode by the veterans of the community, congratulations, you shot off your own foot and you pissed everybody else off in the process. Nobody wanted Gauntlet Light. We want to play, again, with our Illuvials. We want to make a team and go into the battlefield against somebody who also has their own team. I want to face the best version of my opponent. I want to give the best version of me to that opponent, round in, round out. I want to be able to level my little baby Illuvial when I see fit. I want to be able to hit my stage 3s every single game, as long as I have the build order necessary to make it happen. And then calling it Ascendant was such a fucking slap in the face. Like, that was ridiculous. Shameful, to be honest. So what I would do, first and foremost, let's get the real Ascendant back. I don't care if it's flowcharty. I don't care if one team dominates. If one team dominates, balance your fucking game. That is it. I want to bring the same team over and over again because that's my team. I don't want to go out and, like, big issue right now why I don't spend. I don't want to spend on a Sinalf or on a Dualef because I can never hit it in the game. And I'm somebody who pushes level 10 and takes a beating consistently. So it's even more painful when people, like I see on JB's stream for all the time, he's trying to roll for that Riplance that he just picked up. He's trying to roll for that Axodon that's his absolute beloved. Nobody else is contesting him for it. He still cannot get it. Why is that the case? So, we need Ascendant back. No way we get 1v1 back now. As far as they're concerned, it's failed as a concept. In that case, this entire game has failed as a concept. In fact, I know they believe that this game has failed already as a concept because they put so much money into it with development and with the Illuvium Pro League, and they didn't get a damn thing for return because nobody had anything to actually hang on to and invest in when they put the big money up. And now they're crying because all these damn people came on through, took their prize money, and left with it. So Ascendant 1-on-1, I want to come back in the traditional sense where you build your own team and bring it in. What I also want, badly, that no other auto battler and no other creature capturing / battling genre has. Let's keep Gauntlet as an 8-player free-for-all. Everybody brings their deck. Get a little bit of credits every single round. You can have your build order. And then, yes, if everybody is playing the exact same deck, one, you better get good at playing against the mirror matches. Number two, balance your damn game. Let there be diversity here. Let people bring their own decks. Keep the format similar in the sense where every single round you're playing somebody different. Just a rotating free-for-all. But let me bring my team. You can still do things like leveling your range or whatnot as well. Like, there can still be a system. Like, I've literally brainstormed this thing already. I just imagine, like, say we have credits and whatnot. You have a maximum of credits for each level. Similar to what we saw before, you can play your stage 1, stage 2, stage 3s. Similar to what we used to do in Old Ascendant. Level your ranger up. And then regards to augments, put those behind the credit wall as well. So you have to decide, am I putting an alluvial on the field? Am I leveling my ranger? Or am I putting an augment onto one of my creatures? And you know what? If you want to go random with it, like, make like the credit roll like somewhat cheap, and then you can just randomly roll for a augment. But what I'd honestly prefer, let me choose the items. Let me build my exact build. And if certain augments aren't being used, well, say it one more time for all the people in the back, balance your damn game. Let's make a game where we're fighting each other at our best of the best scenarios every single game, instead of making a game where, oh, I guess I kind of got half of the team that I wanted and I don't have any of the augments I wanted, and it wasn't exactly the team that I wanted, but I mean, I got a second. I mean, it's not a fifth, right? So I didn't lose 46 points for getting 6 or for fifth or something along those lines. I guess I can try and get the team that I actually paid for and want to play next time. 8-player free-for-all Ascendant. And it's okay because, well, one game would be quicker. Ascendant could still be the speedy mode. Like, if mobile is basically just as much as a unicorn as Illuvium 0 training gyms and staking the 3 shards at this point. But if mobile were to come out and you need a speedy mode, do the 1v1. And then 8-player free-for-all could be the absolute premium. But because they both play with your own Illuvials and it's an exciting concept, this can open the door for community members like myself to say, hey, I'm going to host a team in 1v1 mode this week. Hey, I'm going to host a tournament in 8-player free-for-all this week. You can have multiple formats be competitive. In fact, we've seen this all already work. You love the angry Sylen. I mean, it doesn't come out very often, and You haven't even seen me truly angry yet. Let's hope you never have to. I don't mind actually imbalance. It just needs to be different to achieve. Oh, 100%. Like, there's certain team compositions that are harder to perform. And this is for Arena as it stays right now. If this was bring your own team style, that kind of gets thrown out the window a little bit because everybody, like, say if I wanted to bring Colossus, I can build my deck as Colossus, and trying to actually hit it isn't the problem anymore. So if Colossus was all of a sudden overpowered, then in team builder mode, it's a little bit of a different mindset. But like, say right now, for how Gauntlet is right now with the random TFT style, or random auto battler style, yeah, like Colossus feeling busted is probably fine, because how do you actually hit Colossus? It's so difficult. And there is something, like you said, Arcanite, for example. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, it's painful to me that these tier 3 all-in teams, especially Rogue, are able to just shred late-game teams so badly. And again, balance the game. So I was saying that we've seen something like this technically already work, right? So let me think, because again, Illuvium heavily inspired by Pokemon. Again, the name brand game in regards to creature capturing and battling. For the longest time, Pokemon had this issue where Pokemon, basically their entire game plan was putting out a very mediocre as hell story game that only lets you play maybe 1, 2 to 4 players to some of these later ones, to go like do your thing, take on these extremely mediocre raids that then also just have turn-based I-click button, go attack for me please kind of style of gameplay. And then if you wanted to play competitive Pokemon, you'd have to get the new title every single time a new mediocre story game came out, and then play that competitive format, which most of the time was just completely busted anyway, and once again kept that stupid little turn-based click and point style of gameplay. No extreme excitement there. Let's be honest, it's a little rough. This is coming from somebody who is a fan, though, of Pokemon VGC. I take a lot of inspiration personally from Wolf Glick and the content he makes. I don't have anywhere near the knowledge or the firepower in terms of finances to be able to get what he does done, but I take great inspiration from what he does, and I'm a fan of VGC and competitive Pokemon, even though I'm kind of dogging on the attack style. But look what Pokemon just recently did. So they've made it so now, if you want to play competitive Pokemon, you play Pokemon Champions, a dedicated, standalone, competitive fighting title. You don't have to touch the story mode games if you do not want, but if you do, it's going to help you catch the Pokemon you might need for your team in the competitive. But in Champions, you can get Pokemon right in Champions. Every day. Just once a day, you get a free Pokemon. That is tournament ready. If you really wanted it to be, you can tweak the stats to be completely tournament ready, like completely optimized. But if you wanted to go to that free-to-play route and grab that Pokemon and go into a tournament, you could. Illuvium has done this in reverse. We have the competitive title already. We have Arena. And to be honest, Arena's almost done. There's not much that needs to be added here. We just need, again, daily quests so that we can run the AutoDrone once or twice a week. And we would match the style of Pokemon Champions. In fact, even better, because you're getting 8 Illuvials on AutoDrone runs. We have a competitive battling format Which then somebody, if they wanted to be cynical, they could say, hey, you're just putting an Illuvial on the board and just yada yada, then watch them play. But we have an absolute cluster in regards to positioning, synergies, Omega Power, like link-ups, and Hyper, and all these other systems. I'd argue if Illuvium had a flushed out title, every Pokemon player, which there are many of, because I'm one of them, by the way, that is pissed off at Pokemon not adapting to the times with mediocre, lame battle styles, story modes. There's a lot of people that are fed up with what Pokemon's doing, but there's not really that huge of an alternative, so to speak. The fact, like, let's say, if I took Pokemon and I can make it all of a sudden 10 of my Pokemon are battling another 10 Pokemon all at the same time, I would arrive. My obelisk would be rising. We already have that with Illuvium. But we just need to get our own Illuvials through Arena by itself, especially right now when Overworld and the MMO are offline. And then, get that, let's make it again so that Gauntlet, Ascendant, both game modes are bring your own team, no randomness. Let me fight you at your best. Let me fight you at my best. That would be all I need in regards to like core features, like added. Then let me level these free Illuvials, because you're not going to like the other alternative. There are no levels in Pokemon Champions. It's just It's just the Pokemon as is, as if they were level 100. Oh, how y'all would cry if I said that we should never have any levels, period, just TPI. That would be a little bit frustrating now, wouldn't it? I don't want to go that route. So let's let newcomers level their Illuvials even if they're free. Because here's the thing. I respect all of those that put in the work to level up their Illuvials early, that bought their Illuvials early, that have these incredible collections that have probably a pretty good value. But the problem is, you might be the king right now, and I've said this before, but if you're the king of a dead kingdom, who the hell cares? And for at least me personally, I'm one of these people that may not have thousands of dollars worth of, well, I probably do now, but I didn't go in putting thousands of dollars worth of Illuvials, or, excuse me, what's the words I'm looking for? I'd be one of these people hurt, just not to the same extent as some. But if it meant having a clean onboarding path, I would take features that take away some of these bonus stats. But I'd rather not. I would love for all the time that I, as well as all these other Illuvial Rangers, have put into the game, not be for waste. But I don't want us to be kings of a dead kingdom. If it meant bringing on people steadily, I'd do it. Because then, like, the way that I picture this in my head, get Arena to the point where newcomers can actually feel welcome, get their own Illuvials, level them up. Let's make it so, again, that we can bring our deck, bring our own Illuvials in time and time again. We can get that game, we get that, plus just add the AutoDrone directly into the game. Get that, and honestly, you could probably put Arena in maintenance mode. Focus everything on everything else. But the thing is, it would be just like what I imagine is going to happen to Pokemon. Champions is going to be up and running, and now it's probably going to be left alone for a little while. They're going to focus on Wind and Waves or whatever their next story-based title is. And when new Pokemon show up into that game, that then translates eventually into new Pokemon showing up into Champions. That, in a sense, is Champions getting an update. So with Illuvium, I think Kieran's even already mentioned the idea that once the next wave, which I know set 2 is basically a unicorn as well, but if new Illuvials come on in, maybe there'll be a point where every single Illuvial isn't allowed to play in every single format. And that's a format that I know works because we have precedent in Pokemon. Every once in a while, there's regulation changes where certain Illuvials from certain areas or certain ones just might straight up not be allowed. And it's just for like a season. And every once in a while, it then switches up again. It's like a monthly thing. Like the regulations change. That can work in Illuvium. That can be done to keep things interesting. But what doesn't change is like any of the programming or any of the development actually in the game itself. It's just enable, disable. I feel like that's all we need for a situation like that for multiple Illuvials. So get Arena to this flushed out state. Get the MMO in progress. And then, for the love of God, it would be nice if it was some time before the MMO. But one thing that Pokemon Champions it didn't release with, but will be coming out with, is a mobile version. So how I would have done this, I don't know why we strayed from it. If Arena was flushed out, where we had like the things I was mentioning before, and it got a mobile release, that standalone could be enough to spark player base interest back into the game. While the Arena is active, or when it's in its opening couple weeks, mention that, hey, the Illuvials that you get from this game, you could bring them to the MMO too. Cross it over so when the MMO releases, there's already a player base active and excited for the MMO. And with that, they're going to be in the same boat that I am. I'm not just leveling up for leaderboards. I'm not just leveling up for arena tournaments. I'm leveling up to have a partner with me in the MMO. Then the MMO comes out, and again, we're not doing any development for arena anymore. It's just the MMO, a couple regulation changes for the arena here and there, maybe every month or so, just to keep things spicy. Balance patches when necessary. And anytime the MMO gets an update, then those new Illuvials or what have you, that becomes Arena's update too. And then this way as well, if Illuvium were to then host a dedicated arena tournament, it becomes an whole universe celebration. Not just because Illuvium actually hosted a tournament, but for the fact that, yes, this tournament is happening, we're going to celebrate this in the arena, which means I need to level up my guys. Well, the quickest way to level them up is probably to go into the MMO. Oh, I don't have tournament ready team yet. I'm going to play a bunch of the MMO because I want to be ready for this tournament. And if there was somehow, some way, not just like a big tournament, to have some sort of weekly thing. Just every single week, some sort of mini competition, maybe every single month have have a weekly level competition where it's like small, similar to what House League is. Then every month, maybe have something where you throw a little cash prizing in there. And then maybe every quarter have something bigger. Where that can be like the celebration. And I haven't even brought in Illuvium 0 into the fray, but I imagine once the MMO is out, that there can be support for it. Or maybe I'm one of those players that want to be like a competitive and level up my Illuvials, but I just don't have the time to play either Arena or the MMO. Can we please get the damn training gyms in there? And then with the MMO then being up, people also getting Illuvials through the arena. You could also then send them to the underground dungeon of cockfighting, which is, of course, Illuvium Deathmatch. It comes full circle. And it can start with arena. And that's the main point that I want to bring about this. That's why I'm so damn adamant that developers, please don't forget about this game. Because arena is your competition, your celebration, is your outlet for esports. It's probably what's going to get the most amount of attention outside of a new zone release or something for an MMO. And you can get it consistently. It's how you build a community. And even if Illuvium themselves doesn't want to throw on weekly tournaments, if Illuvium themselves don't want to do monthlies, they just maybe want to do every half year or maybe every once a year a tournament. I don't know. There's some idiots out there that'll take up the mantle themselves and run their own events just because they love the game. Just make sure you support them. Is what I'm saying making sense? Anybody have any argument? Or any additional points? I'd gladly hear it. Yeah, again, I just beg. Let's finish Arena. There's not much left to do. Reworking things into an 8-player free-for-all in a team planning style, I imagine would take a little bit of time. Sure. However, I imagine that we have the data, or we have the code or whatever from traditional Ascendant. You have done it before. Real Ascendant. Take that into an 8-player setting. Get that. Let me get Illuvials just through the arena. Let me level these Illuvials when I just make an account and not feel like I'm signing up for an exclusive yacht club when I only have a wood canoe. Let me make sure that the Illuvials that I do own, I can use every single battle if I wanted to. If I'm not diversifying, that's my choice. If you don't want to make a battle pass, just give me daily goals for those drip-fed fuel for the AutoDrone run. I'm new here and I've been playing Arena casually. I have some friends who could join for free. Do you think it's a good time to encourage and get them to play right now? And I'm going to be completely honest. It kind of depends. Because if they're going to be free to play right now, as it stands free to play right now, if yous are okay getting together, queuing up for a casual by yourself, completely free to play, then this game still is fun. Absolutely. And you can still enjoy it. But would I want to send off your friends to take the ranked experience with free-to-play Illuvials that never level up against killers like the rest of our community and myself? No. So, like, I would have a very, very hard time even with my wife. My wife tried ranked once or twice. She hasn't asked to play again since. So it's a scenario where unless you've spent money right off the rip, ranked isn't worth it for you. Just play casual. And if you're completely okay playing casuals, like I was saying, group up and play casuals, then hell yeah. Or, what I can also recommend, if they're free-to-play players, I hate it because at the same time, it's kind of plugging my own event. But with House League, for example, if you just want to play casual throughout the week and then try to play in House League, where I can specifically put all of you together in an even power kind of style, then that's worth doing. So It's like, on one hand, yes, I'd love to have them come on through and come play, but I cannot with full honesty say that this is a fun game for a free-to-play player right now. Not a chance. Well, that is probably going to get me canceled, but we'll have to see. Again, any of the comments that I've talked about throughout this stream, it's only because I care. I want to see this game succeed. I don't like what Pokemon is doing. I love the idea that Illuvium has going, but I need them to start listening to the community here. And I need them to finish a project. I don't want a million little things. I just want something that's good. Going for minimal viable products over and over and over and over and over again is just pissing everybody off. We were so close to being finished with Illuvium Arena. Can we please finish it? Get the features added in that I said, which again shouldn't take much development time because it's stuff that's already made. The 8-player free-for-all as a team builder is the only thing that might take a little bit of time. I want this universe, I want this to succeed, I want everybody working on it to succeed. But I have a hard time right now being happy when not even the people working on the game play the game. How am I supposed to trust? How am I supposed to trust your future plans when things are left unfinished? How am I supposed to trust your future plans when a company that's been so transparent about everything that they're working on all of a sudden hasn't delivered on many of the promises in multiple town halls, in multiple roadmaps, staking V3 shards, training gyms in Illuvium 0, any actual functionality update with Illuvium 0, Sanctum Mesa rewards, what's been happening with that? The only thing we have is a place that we can throw away. Those Illuvials that we worked hard to get, cool. We have a place that we can kill them now for the gamble gods. It's been a slap in the face over the last couple of months. It's been a slap in the face since December, since Illuvium Pro League finished. And if you want to call Illuvium Arena a failure, a money sink, and should not be prioritized because it didn't perform as a minimal viable product, how about we finish it before we actually make that judgment? If not mobile, let's finish at least the PC version. Let's see if I'm actually full of shit. I'm not going to say that I know everything. And I'm not going to say it's going to be easy. Because again, I'm not a developer. However, these last couple of months have been so tough as a player. I'm not even going to talk about the content creation side of things. I'm doing my best. And thankfully, somehow I'm still sick enough in the head where I still want to do way more, that I've barely scratched the surface. And to the point where I'm even running tournaments and weekly events because yous don't. I can't expect people to play that don't play the game to want to run events for the game. But yet we have a Lamborghini tournament. I can't expect people who never played a game to want to stream and cast the tournament. Somehow we have that. But please, before we call Arena a failure, let's actually finish the game, please. We have a lot of the same thoughts. And I'm sure many people do too. And that's what just breaks my heart about it. To see development halted on Illuvium Arena was such a slap in the face to me. And I'm genuinely heartbroken because what is going to happen? They have this opportunity here where Arena again could be finished, time it with the MMO, like within short period, so both games get hype. The competitive outlet is already known about, it's supported. The casual or the MMO outlet, which again, if I throw it back to Pokemon, how many years have people been begging for a Pokemon MMO? And the only thing we get are these piece of shit third party scam websites making Pokemon MMO. It seems like there's actually an audience for this there for a creature catcher MMO. So, have a competitive that can link with our MMO. In a time where people could not be more pissed off at Pokemon. We have such a good opportunity here. But just because they've done an extremely goddamn stupid format for an Illuvium Pro League, now that sunken cost makes everybody think it's a goddamn failure, even though the game has never truly had a chance to shine. It was never given the chance. We still have the opportunity. We still have plenty of time. Illuvium, please, again, love you all. You have made it a fantastic game even as it stands already. But it could definitely be better to welcoming more people in. I look forward to your projects, some more than others. I could give a shit less about the team deathmatch. I'd like to keep my collection, not kill them. That's just me, though. I'm still going to try it out here and there. But I'm way more excited for the MMO. I would love to talk about the direction of the game. I would love to help as a community voice to get this game to a place to play. But I do not want to be a council member. Because once I'm a council member, my entire being changes from somebody who's doing something because they love it to somebody who's working and is invested and like needs to see this for financial gain. I am giving you the opportunity to work with somebody who genuinely is of the mindset that they strictly just want this game to be good, this universe to be good, exciting, welcoming. I don't give a shit about the Web3 side of things. If all of the ILV tokens went to zero, I still don't care. Is the game good? I don't care about ILV tokens. I don't care about crypto coins. I don't care about the value of my Illuvials. I care about what this game can give value-wise to the players. Let me help you. Please. For the sake of all of us, it'd mean the world to me. With that, I'm basically over time now at this point, so I shall be closing things off. First and foremost, big congratulations again to everybody that got the Illuvial prizing from House League. I'm looking forward to this week's House League as well, because we're going to be doing something a little bit different. This House League is not going to be separated by divisions because everybody is going to be on the same playing field no matter what. This House League is going to be in casual mode. The entire top 8 of the finals lobby, you'll be getting prizes. But what I would love is, say, a 16 or 32 person tournament where we can have, say, top 2 or top 4 of each lobby move into the next round, so to speak. Let's mimic an actual tournament of sorts and just have it set up so that it's all based off of execution. All you players out there that are like similar to what we hear in F1, like, oh, this driver would be so good if his car was better. Oh, I would beat that player if my Illuvials were as good as his. This is the chance to do it. Show up some of these top players by outperforming them in that fashion. The any given Sunday mentality. Would love to see you compete. That is now active. The sign-up sheet is in the Discord. It's also in the the save profile, or in the description rather, of this stream. So make sure you definitely get signed up for that. I don't know how often we'll do these casual style tournaments. I got 10 of you already though, which is pretty exciting. So I already have at least one lobby. Looking forward to seeing what happens when the ceiling has been evened for everybody. Would absolutely love to see it. Stream wise, once again for this next one, our next stream coming up is going to be this week in Illuvium, where we go over any sort of news that may have happened around the Illuvium universe. And if there's time extra, I'll hop into ranked and you can stream snipe me a little bit. I don't mind. I'd love to get the competition, because we should also be having a ranked reset, I believe, coming up on Thursday. So maybe a little bit of extra warm up so we can hit the new season running off strong. Then on Friday, of course, it's going to be House League, and it will be a fun time all around. If this is your first time here by chance on the way out, can you please drop a subscription here onto the channel, and maybe even drop a like here on the video if possible. I have been trying my damnedest to build this channel strictly off of Illuvium content. I'm not one of these people I see commonly in the Web3 space that are just hopping from game to game to game. Maybe putting a minimal viable product out there for every single crypto game that potentially has some wings under it, hoping that it takes off. I've been doing this directly, strictly off of Illuvium only, and I would love to be able to grow this channel more and more, not just to see the subscriber number come up and maybe get partnered one day with YouTube, but to bring Illuvium as a whole to more people. I am trying my damnedest to get this game out there in the best light as a gamer, removing the crypto stigma attached to this, and just showing that Illuvium can be a fun game just in its own right, whether it was Web 2 or Web 3. That's my goal. It's still my goal. I'm still trying, no matter how difficult it has been. It's definitely not been easy, and as long as I still keep enjoying this journey, I'll keep doing it. Thanks again for being realistic and speaking the truth. I respect more. That means a lot. Awaken Darkness, that means a ton. And to all of you that have been incredibly supportive to me over the last couple of months, again, major thank you to all of you. I know we don't necessarily have like 100% agree on everything. Like, say, in terms of Illuvium Deathmatch, I'm not the most excited for it. Am I still going to cover it, though? Absolutely. I definitely will. But regardless of how my personal thoughts are with yours, I still thank you so much for being respectful and for being so supportive here of me. If you do want to do the one step further, of course, as well, if you do end up making any purchases on the Illuvidex, I do have a referral code. Sylen is my referral code there. Any of the kickback that I get from those purchases goes back to House League in the form of Ethereum, whether it be getting Illuvials for starter decks, or potentially maybe getting bigger prizes, let's say like an Illuvium 0 plot for a winner sometime. That's what it's all about. It's all coming back to you. If it ever has to change for some reason, I'd be sure to make that clear, make that known as far ahead of time before I actually start doing anything. Because here's the thing. I'm not rugging. I'm not quitting. I'm not taking the money and run. I want this to succeed just as much as the players. I probably want this to succeed. Sometimes it feels like more than the developers. I want to see this game hit mainstream. And if I happen to get to go along for the ride, that'd be amazing, but that's not why I'm doing it. I love this game. I love this universe. I love this community. And that's why I do it. So until I see you again on Wednesday for this week in Illuvium, keep it up. Keep pushing, Rangers. Good luck with everything. I will see you next time.
Woke up tired, didn't sleep all night. Mine's still running like a traffic light. Red for stop and green for go. I'm stuck somewhere in between them both. Brushed my teeth and checked my phone. Everyone looks like they've already grown. Smiling faces, perfect lives. I'm here asking, what am I doing with mine? I don't have a plan, I just have today. Trying not to throw the little good away. I'm still here, taking one small step through the fear. I'm tired, but I'm not giving up. I'm scared, but I'm still showing up. One small step is enough today. I'm not fine, but I'm on my way. I'm tired, but I'm not giving up. I'm scared, but I'm still showing up. One small step is enough today. I'm not fine, but I'm on my